Looking for a holiday getaway with people you detest and an a la carte menu that consists of 10 variations of boiled rice with seawater dressing? Then look no further. Exile Beach is your perfect Pacific paradise. Find out this and more on Drop Your Buffs, a podcast discussing Australian Survivor. On this podcast, we'll be discussing Australian Survivor that aired on Monday, the 3rd of October. So if you haven't seen this episode yet and don't want to be spoiled, grab your things and head back to camp. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just go to dropyourbuffs.com for more details. My name is Stuart, and with me as usual is my Survivor partner in crime, Craig.
G'day.
How's it going, Craig?
G'day, Stu. I'm well. How are you going?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good.
Have a win over the weekend?
No, not really, but it actually was nice having a bit of a Survivor break, wasn't it? So we're just down to the 2 episodes rather than the usual 3.
We're still at 3 because we've got US Survivor to watch as well this week. But
Yeah,
but I agree. Bit of a break. It's good.
I've just put the US Survivor on hold. I guess I'm just showing my true colours. I'm devoting all of my time to the Australian Survivor.
True blue. Good on
true
you,
blue.
Stu. A lot of rhyming there.
Well, shall we hit this episode?
Yeah, night 37.
Sam comes out with Nick, a.k.a. the snake. Now, do you think this is going to be the last time we're going to hear that phrase, the snake?
I don't think so.
It's been used a lot, hasn't it?
Opening line of the episode.
It was.
Straight into it. Nick barely relegated to the jury, and they're still calling him a snake back at camp.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel sorry for Nick. He seems to have been really hard done by, doesn't he?
Yeah, he not a popular guy. But anyway, as we talked about last time, he's on the jury, and that's going to make it really entertaining at the end.
He is, and I've got a great interview with him, which I'll be playing at the next podcast. So make sure that you listen to the next podcast.
All right, look forward to that.
Exclusive interview.
Yep.
Now, then we hear from Matt, and Matt's giving us a bit of backstory, really, isn't he, to his own...
Yeah, he did.
His own background.
Dropping bombshells, he said.
Dropping bombshells?
Yeah, he said that Nick was dropping bombshells as he...
Oh, okay.
In the previous tribal council.
Yes, yeah. No, I was more referring to Matt talking about how he was upset about not being close to anyone here, and it was just like school.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yep.
And then in the background we get the sad piano music, which actually was even sadder than my piano music.
Yeah, and your piano music's pretty sad.
Yeah,
it brings a tear to my eye every time.
Yeah, so it was. I don't know. He was talking about why he became a magician and things like that, because it was trying to get people to like him and so on. So so that was a bit of a backstory to Matt.
Yeah, and it probably explains a little bit too, because we'll no, I won't say that. That's going to spoil. I won't say what I was about to say.
Yeah, so I guess it's come down to this alliance of 5, which is 3 and 2. We've got Flick, Elle, and Brooke as a group of 3, and then Lee and Sam. That makes up the alliance of 5.
Yeah, that's very true. I think it was Brooke that was saying that. But it's very much 1, 2, 3 is Brooke, Flick, and Elle, and 4 and 5. Probably not. 4 and 5 is probably Lee and Sam.
Yes, that's right.
So where does that leave
right.
Matt? 6 at best.
Certainly not in that 5, is it? Yeah, no. That's right.
6 at best, but I don't think he realises that.
No, it's really a far cry from the Charlie's Angels of only a few episodes ago, wasn't it?
That's right.
Now, in this one, Flick convinces Sue to join the 5 because they just want to make sure that they have the majority for the next vote.
But did she?
Well, Sue is pretty smart.
Sue's pretty smart. And, I mean, basically she then... we had that first, and then we cut away to Sue sitting by herself on the beach, and the first of quite a few really good sayings that Sue's come out with lately.
Yep.
Blind Freddie can see that the 3 girls are running the show, she said. So she wasn't buying that.
No, that's right.
Not in a fit. Not in a fit, she said, would I take orders from Flick, Brooke, and Elle. And then she said, I've got to lay down dead dog for a while.
That's right.
Well,
that's what I thought, though.
Have you got a ding? That needs a ding. That was awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
Well done, Craig. Well, yes, I thought all those quotes were great, but the fact that she said that she was going to have to lie dead dog meant that I thought that she might still
that
agree.
a beach yoga pose?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, now that Kate's gone, maybe Sue is the resident yoga master
So
now.
we're not seeing it though, are we? There's no beach yoga going on anymore.
No,
It's
no,
all got
everyone's
it's all
very
got
upset.
very, very serious.
Everyone's very tense, and no, I think the fact that she was saying about lying dead dog meant that she obviously wouldn't sort of go with Flick all the way, but maybe she would join an alliance just for one vote.
Yeah, I interpret that as
I thought that's all that meant.
I interpret that as doing what she has
Yeah.
to do to get at least one day further.
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't
that's right.
didn't read anything into it about a permanent alliance. Or I mean, I
No.
can't see that happening in a million years.
No.
That she would align with them.
No, that's right. And then that brings us to the immunity challenge.
Well, before we did,
Okay,
before we went to the immunity challenge, there was a little bit of other stuff that happened as well. We had Brooke and Flick having a bit of a chat at one stage, as they often do. And Brooke was concerned that the others might form an alliance of their own. And Flick said that Matt was being weird and sooky and that he was the next to go. So that was maybe the first hint we got there that things were not amiss, things that were amiss. And then we had a really interesting thing. It was on screen for about a second. And it might mean nothing. It could be just very selective editing.
Yes.
But we could quite clearly see that Christy was sitting in the shelter with Flick massaging Flick. Did you notice that?
I can't say that I do, no.
Which sort of says to me that Christy is working big time on really making sure she's stuck onto that alliance like glue. And she's following them everywhere and she's massaging them in the shelter and she's saying all these nice things and, doing whatever they say they want her to do. Just something I noticed, just one of those subtle things going on in the background.
She really is a bit of a floater at the moment, and hasn't really. We haven't seen much of Christy for a while, really. Basically, since Phoebe left, Christy has become a bit of a non-event, hasn't she?
Yeah, well, you're not hearing much from her at all.
And she's not really a part of any alliance that we can see. So,
but I think on balance, based on just the way she's acting and the things she's doing, I think she's very much trying to attach herself to that core alliance of those three girls.
I can't see it working though.
No, I can't either. But that's why it looks like to me.
Unless they might want to take her though, because if they think that they can more easily beat her in the final, the final two, maybe
absolutely. And we talked about that before. Perfectly valid strategy to do that.
That's right.
So yes, now we can go on to the immunity challenge.
On the challenge.
Come on in, guys. He said.
Now this was like a 3-stage challenge, wasn't it?
This was great.
And so we had the balance bridge where they had to sort of had two pieces that they had to keep rotating to walk along this bridge.
Yep.
Then we had the wobbly.
And before we get on from that, it was made very clear to them that you didn't want to be in the last 4. The first 6 were going through. There's 10 participating in the challenge. The first 6 would go on to the next stage, but you didn't want to be in the final 4 that didn't get through the balance beam.
But they didn't say what that.
They didn't say what that was.
What that meant, no. Then the second stage was the wobbly rope bridge.
That's right.
And then the last stage,
that's right. The first 3 going on from that.
Yep.
On to we're throwing balls into 3 baskets.
Yeah, it was like a kind of a weird softball type sort of a.
Sort of like reverse t-ball. It was sort of like playing t-ball or softball, but using the bottom end of the bat.
Yeah, it was
like the top end of the bat.
Maybe it was t-ball crossed with snooker. How's that?
Yeah, it's t-ball crossed with snooker. I like it. What would you call that? Tuka or something?
Yeah. Now. So the 6 who finished the balance bridge first, the first stage, we had Kylie, Elle, JL, Brooke, Sam and Christy.
That's right.
The 4 that didn't make it had to leave immediately for Exile Beach.
Yeah, that's a new one. I mean, we've had Redemption Island and we've had various other things over the years.
We've had Exile Island, but not Exile Beach.
Never had Exile Beach, and I don't remember this happening in the middle of a challenge before either, where they were immediately banished like that.
Yes, I don't think so, because normally the way Exile Island worked in the US series was that it normally happened when you had 2 tribes competing. The winning tribe, they would get to choose one person from the losing tribe to go to Exile Island. And so normally it was only one person who went to Exile Island, sometimes 2.
Yeah.
Normally
but
one
never
person.
4. I don't remember 4 ever going.
No, exactly.
So
exactly.
Matt, Sue, Lee, and Flick were immediately banished.
That's right. So
the 6 continued to the rope ladder.
Yes, yep.
Made their way across that. That all happened fairly quickly. And our first 3 there were Brooke, Elle, and Jen Louise.
That's right.
And then we went on to bashing balls in our 2 ball.
And this was pretty close, actually, wasn't it?
It was very close.
It
was 2-2-2.
it was pretty good to win.
Yep.
Yep, that's right. And eventually won by JL,
Yeah, Jenna Louise. Well done, Jenna Louise.
which was
Great
which
effort.
was very very useful.
Very useful
win
for her.
Win for her because she's clearly, if not on the bottom, close to the bottom.
Yep, I'd say that's probably pretty accurate.
So then we go over to Exile Beach and see what the 4 people are doing on Exile Beach and what that exactly means for them. Now, one of the benefits of Exile Beach, and this was often the case in Exile Island on the US version as well, was that they also got a clue to a hidden immunity idol that was somewhere on Exile Beach. So that's like a bit of the silver lining, really, isn't it, of Exile?
That's
Beach.
right, exactly. But why do they keep falling for whatever Flick says?
Yeah, well,
Oh, I don't think we should. It's a problem. It's, we can't get it. It puts a target on your back. Everyone has had one. It hasn't gone well. All because she feels so confident that she doesn't need it. And she convinces everyone else, and there's some people there who are not particularly or 2 in particular, Sue and Matt. Not that Matt knows it, but Sue certainly does know it.
Who desperately needs an idol.
idol.
So I don't know whether they really took on board what Flick said, though. It was a bit hard to tell from the edit, but Flick was saying how all of the previous people in the game who've had the idol hasn't worked out for them, Rowan, Phoebe, and Nick, but all those idols were actually used in the game,
absolutely,
and probably got those people further,
absolutely,
one more episode. So
Phoebe got at least, or she had the benefit of 3, I think, in the end, didn't she?
Well,
Is that right?
Well, she got Rowan's idol, and then she found her own.
She found 2 of her own or something.
Was it 2 of her own?
I think it was 2 of her own. We'll have to look into that. Check the stats.
Now, one of the problems with Exile Island, though, or this Exile Beach, is that they don't get back into the main part of the game until Tribal Council, and so they haven't had that opportunity to strategize with everyone else as to who to vote for.
Well, not only that, they didn't even know who'd won the challenge. They didn't even know who had immunity.
Yeah. Exactly. So they're basically going in blind, whereas normally they spend half a day or something running around trying to work out who to vote for. But it's, even though that's bad for the 4, it's almost as bad for the 6 that didn't go to Exile Island, because they also don't know what the 4 are going to vote for either.
That's right.
So they're just as blind.
And the core alliance have been split there.
Split.
You had Flick and Lee over at Exile Beach. You had Brooke and Elle over at camp. So the core alliance couldn't properly work out what they were going to do. And Flick and Lee were talking about Matt again and throwing Matt under the bus. There was a conversation at Exile Beach about that.
No, well, yeah, because I think Matt wronged Flick a few episodes ago, and she's that sort of person that doesn't forget that sort of thing.
No, she doesn't. No, you don't want to wrong Flick. No, definitely not.
I have. I did look up a bit of history on Exile Island on the US show that I thought might be interesting.
Yep.
It took them until the 10th season for them to actually have the first Exile Island was in season 10.
Wow.
And that was Survivor Palau. So in the 32 completed seasons of Survivor, Exile Island has been used in 9 seasons.
Only 9?
9 seasons.
Feels like a lot more than that.
Well, usually after, as I said earlier, after a challenge, the winning tribe chooses one person from the losing tribe to go to Exile Island. So that's how it normally works.
Yeah.
And the whole point of the Exile Island is that it really affects the social game, obviously, because the Exile players can't strategize with the other players. And the person, I'm not sure if you can recall this, Craig, but do you know who has the record for the most Exile Island visits?
Oh, it's no, I couldn't honestly tell you, but I remember there was a series where one particular person went back there time and time again, and it was a she.
Yes.
And I can't remember who that was.
Oh, sorry, Craig.
Oh, yes, I got it.
Yeah. Her name was Sugar Kuiper, and she had a kind of a
Sugar.
Yeah, Sugar. She was like a kind of a platinum,
I remember
platinum blonde.
She had the Marilyn Monroe thing happening.
Yeah, like a kind of a 50s kind of a haircut or something.
Sugar.
And that was on Survivor Gabon. She found the idol on the first time she went there. And so then
she had nothing to do.
No, so she had nothing to do for the other 4 times she went there because she already found the idol the first time.
It'd be just awful, wouldn't it? Being there, you and the cameraman and the camera crew, but it wouldn't be too nice.
No,
at least Exile Beach they had each other.
No, but I think at least Sugar had some. she had some
Sugar.
kind of she had some kind of a structure. I think like some sort of shelter or something. So because
Oh, so
I
don't wanna
can
get
I
one.
can I can recall her just sort of literally putting her feet up and just going to sleep because there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So well,
Right.
so then we have tribal coming up next.
Yeah, didn't Nick look different as you walked in?
He sure did.
Clean shaven,
Yes,
he
he
looked
did.
a lot different.
Yeah, a lot younger and
He did
sprightly.
look a lot,
Didn't
he
he?
did look younger, yeah.
He was really growing that wild man beard, wasn't he?
He was. And then Flick says, no, we're not the Power Three. It's just a great friendship. I mean, honestly.
I'm so glad that JLP he just really called him out on that. He said, "Oh, come on," he said, didn't he?
Yeah, so who's controlling it? He said, who's controlling it? And she said, oh, it's a majority of people. I mean,
But don't you feel like though that
and
this
that's
is just it's just going over old ground because they keep going over this alliance of three and whether it exists and whether people acknowledge it.
It's obvious. Sue said again, blind Freddie can see it.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know why we have to keep rehashing this
No,
when
we can
everyone knows it. We know it.
We definitely
They
know,
know
it.
it.
We know more than they do because we know that certain people like Matt who think they're part of it is not part of it. We've been
Yes.
told who the five are. As I say, we know that Matt's not part of that. So yeah, you're right. We know this.
Mm.
Get on with it.
And Sue was saying during tribal council, it's been a life-changing experience. And I think what the point of it was for her was that she's found it difficult to cope within the framework of the game, and she's had to sort of bend her morals a little bit or try and navigate these sort of murky waters. That's a bit uncomfortable for her.
Well, she said she was trying to stay true to her values, and I guess one of the things is she wanted to be a good example to her kids and her grandkids. That seems to be her motivation and how she conducts herself, and she said that.
Yeah, well, I can't really think of anything that she's done that she wouldn't be proud of. I don't think so.
No, I think she's based on what we've seen. I think she's played it well.
Mm.
I don't think she's got anything she should be.
No, that's
embarrassed
right.
about that we've
That's
seen.
right. Should we get to the votes?
We should.
Would you do the honours, Greg?
Yeah. So 10 votes. They went 7 to Kylie and 3 to Sue. No one had an immunity idol to play. So the 7 who voted for Kylie were Sue, Lee, Flick, Ellen, Brooke, Christy, and Jenna Louise, with Kylie, Matt, and Sam voting for Sue. And Kylie looked close to tears to me as the verdict was read out.
Do you think?
Yeah, she looked quite emotional.
Yeah, well, it's hard to know whether she was expecting it because I think, well, as I'll get to later on, because I've seen the Jury Villa video that where
Right.
she talks about it, and she didn't really call it a blindside because I think she had a 50-50 sort of inkling that that she was going to go, so it wasn't a complete blindside.
Yeah, I still thought she was sort of fighting back tears a bit there, and a little parting gift. You got to start playing at some stage. And then I loved what Sue said. Sue goes, "Oh God, I nearly threw myself on the fire." Sue's had another near-death experience at Tribal Council. She had some crackers in that episode.
Well, I saw some good comments on the Australian Survivor subreddit actually with respect to Kylie. So one person said, and I quote, "I hate Kylie so much that confessional after she was voted out, she said people needed to do more than just recognise the alliance and start fighting it. Oh, really? Is that not what Kate tried to do and you backstabbed her?"
Yeah, and I agree to that to some extent.
Yeah,
I think
that was a pretty valid comment.
We've talked about this previously, that the time to start mixing it up and to take that alliance on was actually way before Connor got voted out. And that's what 3 or 4 people ago now. It just is getting...
Connor? Who's Connor?
It's just
Distant memory.
It's getting harder and harder and harder. They could have done it with the numbers. They chose not to. And okay, as you said before, Kylie's got to this point. It may not have gone so well if she'd formed an alliance with different people, but it's just getting harder. And that core of 3 plus the 2 of Lee and Sam is unbreakable for what we can see at the moment.
That's right. Yeah.
And so the numbers are not there now.
Well, someone else said about that comment as well on the subreddit, said, "Yeah, Kylie has literally been the person preventing the minority from organising. She was the person who could have pulled Nick, JL, Matt and the minority, which is Christy and Sue, and made a difference in the game."
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
So So it's I'm not too upset about seeing Kylie go because in some ways she was a frustrating character.
Yeah, she could. Yeah, I think she could have done so much more a bit earlier.
Mm.
Agreed. Because physically she was just so strong.
She was
Amazing performer
she
in
was.
challenges, and
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It seems like a really nice person.
she was described as the Energizer Bunny, wasn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
So, so Kylie, we hope you find a better sleeping spot in the jury villa, and maybe someday someone will join your all-girls alliance. The tribe has spoken. Well, should we get to some tweets?
Chester.
It's funny you should say that because did you know that Chester the chicken is on Twitter?
Is he? Is he like that chicken that was on Twitter or Facebook or something a while back that was just tapping out random? I don't know. What was that? Was that a fast food, a chicken takeaway joint or something? And it was.
I haven't heard that one.
No, this was a year or two ago. But this someone, I'm pretty sure it was a chicken takeaway joint. It was on the Gold Coast or something. But this chicken, they put it on the keyboard. It used to tap away, and it used to tweet these random characters. And everyone was waiting for the day where it actually tweeted something that was a real word. And I can't remember if it happened or not. If anyone knows if that is still running, I'd be really interested to know. But it was a bit of a thing there for a while.
I haven't heard that one. I have heard of the octopus that used to predict the World Cup.
Oh yeah, that's old news. I can't remember the name of that chicken either. But hey, that's a good idea for Chester. Maybe Chester could take up the role.
Well, this Chester is actually quite well spoken, and he goes under the Twitter handle @ChesterSurvivor.
Right.
And he tweets things like, "I'm glad Hungry Jack's is the sponsor and not KFC."
People are funny, aren't they? That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's actually Matt in disguise. So maybe Matt's actually controlling that Twitter handle.
So does this mean does this tell us that Chester? Maybe this is a spoiler that Chester may have survived the show.
Could do. Something else that is throwing a spanner in the works is daylight saving.
Yes. Be very careful on Twitter.
Now, of course, it has always been a problem beforehand anyway because we had 3 time zones before essentially, didn't we?
Exactly.
We had Western
This
Australia,
is probably
Central
something
Australia.
this is probably something WA and people in South Australia and the Northern Territory have to deal with all the time. But
now we have 4 time zones.
Well, yeah, that's
we do,
right.
don't we? Yeah.
No, we actually got 5 now.
What's
got
the fifth
5
one?
because you got Queensland on standard time. You've got all the other eastern states on daylight saving time. You've got South Australia is an hour ahead of the Northern Territory, and of course you got WA. So
I thought South Australia is the same as Northern Territory.
Yeah, but not during daylight saving time.
Ah, right.
So there's actually 5 time zones across the country now.
And then don't you have Lord Howe Island time zone as well?
Yeah, but are they watching?
So that's 6 time zones.
I don't know. I guess so. Norfolk as well.
So it makes it very hard to follow Twitter because I like to try and, if I can, think of something to tweet while I'm watching the show. And it's now I just tweet blindly. I just don't look at the screen. Because you don't know what you're going to read, so it's it does make it difficult, and it's
of course this only applies if you're in one of the states that isn't on daylight saving time. Of course, if you live in New South Wales, Victoria, the ACT, or Tasmania, you're fine because they're all in the same time zone. Queensland's an hour behind that, so people in those states are tweeting, and the official Survivor Twitter handle is tweeting in daylight saving time. So if you're living in any of those other states that is not on daylight saving time, you're going to get spoiled if you're not careful.
You think that I'm not sure if they've worked out some way around this. I was doing some Googling today trying to work this out, but there are lots of reality TV shows now that rely on Twitter a lot to sort of engage with the fan base and so on. But there's no way to try and synchronize that when there's different time zones.
The only way to do it,
same problem in America too.
Exactly. The only way to do it, I think, would be to have separate Twitter handles for each place. And so if you're in Queensland, you subscribe to Survivor Australia Queensland or something that tweets in Queensland time. I don't know. As I say, this is a problem Western Australia, South Australia, and Northern Territory have to deal with all the time.
That's right.
It's only then Queensland gets brought into the mix when daylight saving is on.
Maybe have different hashtags. So at the moment we just have hashtag Survivor AU, have Survivor AU -QLD or something like that.
Maybe. Anyway, that was that.
That's right. Any other Survivor news, Craig?
Not really. Other than the new series of American Survivor is underway on Channel 9 on Thursday nights. I did watch the first episode, and I have to say, after watching the last however many weeks of Australian Survivor we've been watching, I've kind of got used to it,
Yeah.
and it felt weird. It felt a bit weird watching the American one all of a sudden with American accents and Jeff back and
Weird as in not as good or
different,
or just different.
different.
Yeah.
And okay, I've talked about this before as well. The first episode is always hard because there's so many people running around. You don't know who on earth they are. You don't have established relationships with all these people. So take that into account. But it felt weird. And then, of course, and this is no spoiler because they've been advertising it, of course, then they had the drama in the middle of it where a cyclone rolled through Fiji and they actually evacuated both tribes off the beach. So that kind of threw a bit of a spanner in the works into the first episode and made it a little bit interesting. And it wasn't really made clear exactly how long they were away because when they returned, it was all bright sunshine and everything was really nice. So anyway, it's underway. It's we've talked before. It's millennials versus Gen X, and all the usual stereotypes are being talked about and are coming out.
I can't wait to catch up with that.
So it's going to be interesting.
Well, I was reading about back to Australian Survivor that the ratings for last week, Survivor was Channel 10's highest rating show.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, so that's great. And
is great.
It's great news for future seasons because I think that they have basically confirmed season.
Yeah, I think
two,
I read something the other day.
I think
there will be a series too.
So it's looking really good.
It's been good. It's to this point, it's been a great series. It's a great cast. It looks and feels right. JLP's a good host. There's a lot going for it.
But it sounds like that they aren't going to have a reunion show though.
Oh, really?
Well,
that's a shame.
That's what
What's
I've heard.
the reasoning there?
And, well, I don't know whether it was part of the reason was because they weren't sure how the season was even going to go or how well it was going to be received. But also,
but they've got plenty of time to organise one.
Yeah, but what they normally do with the US Survivor is that they normally read the votes as well, and that is combined with the reunion show. Well, they've already read the votes out on Samoa, and it's already been recorded.
Oh,
it's in the can. So I guess those people involved must know who the winner is. So everyone's getting...
Well, do they, or have they done like what they do in some reality shows where they do alternate endings?
Okay. Yeah.
Like I believe MasterChef does that. Both contestants win and get to celebrate
yes.
a win.
Oh, no. Oh, no. How terrible is that?
And then they actually have to wait until the finale goes to air to find out who actually won. So maybe they do something like that. I really like the reunion shows they do.
I do too.
They're actually, for me, one of my favourite bits of the whole series. Is seeing the reunion show.
You see everyone glammed up. They've all put on about 15 kilos. They're all looking great.
And all sorts of weird and wacky stuff goes on sometimes at the reunion. I really enjoy it.
It does.
So I'm disappointed to hear that.
Well, it just puts a nice end to the season. Yeah. It just sort of closes off nicely, and it's good to watch. And and the fact that there's no live that there's no live reunion show with a live audience, which is what they have in the US, which dashes our hopes of actually going to attend that, which would be awesome to go to.
I think they're pretty hard to get to anyway.
You think so?
Yeah. For what I've read, you've actually got to be
you have to know someone.
You've got to know someone. You've got to be somehow part of the Survivor crew or a family member or a previous Survivor. I think most of the people you see in that audience are
podcaster.
What's that?
Podcaster, maybe.
Yeah.
And have you checked out the Jury Villa videos on?
No, I haven't yet.
It's on the Channel 10 website. It's on.
This is like the Ponderosa series that CBS do for.
That's right. Yeah. So it's on 10 Play, and they aren't long. It's about 10 minutes per person that gets voted off. So at the moment, I've seen the ones for Nick and Kylie, and when Nick first went off, basically he goes straight from tribal council. Nick walks off, and the first thing he does is that he goes to this tent that mustn't be too far away and gets a checkup from the doctor. Well, it's not so much a full blown checkup, but he gets weighed.
Oh yeah,
and that weight gets compared to what he was when he first came in. So Nick lost about 7 kilos. 7 kilos, and
he's not a big guy.
No, that's right. And Kylie lost about 5 kilos, but I think that she had more food rewards and things like that, maybe. Yeah. So maybe that
would be right. Well, she was part of Sinapu for all that time.
That's right.
And, the one I'd be most interested to see is Lee. You can see he is now visibly smaller than he was when he started. He's lost a lot of weight. Yeah. And Sam's losing weight too. You can see that. It's quite obvious.
That's true. That's true. the other thing that they do, which is something that hadn't occurred to me, is that they get a long full-length mirror and show them what they look like, because
They wouldn't have seen that.
no, that's right, because they haven't seen that for all that time.
Oh,
you know.
wow.
So
How
that
did
was
he
quite
react?
interesting. Oh, no, he was shocked because he had quite a thick beard as well, you know, and and Kylie could see that, you know, she was so visibly, you know, smaller and had lost some muscle and things like that.
Wow.
So
That would be a real
so-
flip out, actually.
and then when they go to their villa, the first thing that they do before they even have a shower or anything is that they sit down for a dinner, but it's their kind of special dinner. It's you know, or it's the thing that they most want. So
So do they nominate that before they started? Is that what happened?
they must, yeah.
Wow,
So
yeah.
Nick had burger and chips
Oh,
and a beer and various other things as well. And Kylie, she had some potato wedges and sour cream and chili or something like that. So
what would you go for?
what would I? Oh, put me on the spot, Craig. Or a nice roast would be good after that
I
time,
was
wouldn't
thinking,
it?
I was thinking roast.
Yeah.
Probably what I'd go for. Roast chicken, maybe.
Mm.
There's some. Oh, I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, well, I think that's all I've got for this episode. Well, how about you, Craig?
Yeah, it was a short episode, that one. We didn't have a reward challenge, just an immunity challenge. Only went for an hour, so yeah, it was.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. Well, that'll wrap that episode up, and we'll get on to Tuesday night's episode pretty soon and see how that goes. So, thanks for joining us, Craig,
Great to be here, Stu.
and thanks for listening, everyone. And we'll see you next time.
See you later.
See ya.